You've done all this work learning about energy types, variability, intensity, and decision fatigue. But now comes the part that actually matters, making it a part of how you plan every single day. This is where the system stops being something that you think about once in a while and starts becoming second nature. The good news is you don't need a perfect planner or a ton of self-discipline to make this stick. What you need is consistency, honesty, and a willingness to tweak as you go. Think of integrating energy awareness like seasoning food. You don't dump in the entire spice rack at once. You sprinkle a little here, a little there. You give it a little taste test and then you adjust. And in the same way, you do not have to and should not map out an entire year using your energy categories right now. You just start with the week ahead. When you look at your calendar or you look at your to-do list, don't just ask yourself, when will I do this? Ask yourself, when is my brain and my body going to be in the best position to complete this? That tiny shift is going to change everything. This is where the mental, physical, and emotional categories that you learned about become your sorting tool, so that when you're laying out your week, you can group your tasks by the type of energy they require. Then you're going to layer in intensity. You might realize that you've accidentally stacked 3 high-intensity mental obligations back to back to back on a Monday morning, which explains why Monday afternoon feels like a black hole. By seeing it in advance, you can try swapping out one of those things with a lower intensity item. Or you can change out a mental high intensity for a physical one to give you more balance. And this will lead to becoming brutally realistic about your natural energy rhythms. If you know you are mentally sharpest in the mornings, you can start protecting that time for brain-heavy work. If you know that you fade mid-afternoon, that is the spot where you put the no mental energy automatic routine items. Or it's where you build in rest. Because yes, building in rest is still planning. It is not slacking off. It's creating sustainability. The trap that some of you are going to fall into with this system is that you are going to want desperately to overcomplicate it. You're going to dive head first. You're going to start color coding stuff. You're going to create spreadsheets that are absolute masterpieces that should be on the ESPN Excel Spreadsheet World Championships. Yes, that's a thing. If you haven't watched it, chef's kiss. It's so good. But if you do that, you are going to burn out on the system, which is completely the opposite of what we're trying to do here. You have to just think of it in layers. Layer 1 is knowing your energy types. Layer 2 is to match your tasks to those types. And the third layer is to spread out the intensity levels so you're not draining one battery too quickly. That's it. Everything else is just optional flair. And of course, you're not planning in a vacuum. Life is going to continue to throw surprises at you. That is why we build in flexibility from the start. A last-minute meeting, a sick kid, or a burst of unexpected energy. These aren't trips and traps in the system. They're what the system is designed to handle. You can swap and shift and reprioritize without having to scrap your whole day. The goal is to stop seeing interruptions as derailments and start seeing them as signals. If after all these hours of talking about all of these things makes it feel intimidating, I urge you to start small. Pick one category, maybe just your mental energy tasks, and try organizing just those for the week ahead. Once that starts to feel natural, mix in the physical. You're building muscle memory for planning. And like any muscle, it gets stronger the more you use it. The ultimate aim is for this to become so automatic that when you jot something down in your planner, your brain is already tagging it. Oh, that one's high intensity mental. We need to save that one for Tuesday afternoon. Or that one is low intensity energy, so that'll be good for when I'm really fried, but I still kind of want to get something done. Over time, you're not just going to be managing your schedule. You're going to be managing yourself, your energy, your attention, your capacity in a way that actually works for your real life. That is the magic of integrating energy awareness into your planning. It stops being one more thing you have to remember and starts becoming the invisible backbone of how you work and how you live. And once that happens, you're going to wonder how you ever planned any other way. We cannot talk about implementing the system without tackling one of the hardest truths. You cannot and should not do everything yourself. It is not a failure of willpower or time management or your grit. It is just the reality of having a finite amount of energy available to you every day. Once you start implementing the system, you are going to see really quickly that trying to carry all of the tasks, all of the responsibilities, and every single side project by yourself is going to be like trying to bring in every bag of groceries in one trip. I mean, yeah, I guess it's possible, but you're going to drop something on your foot. So there are 3 very important words that I want you to remember. Let go, delegate, delete. That's 4 words. You know what I mean. These are not extra steps to a planning system. They are the core to making your plan work. Without them, you are just going to continue to overload your days, and even sorting things by category and intensity won't be able to save it and get it back on track. Letting go means accepting the fact that some things do not have to be on your plate anymore. At least not right now. It could be a volunteering role. It could be a hobby that you've actually fallen out of love with, or it could be a side project that you started with the best of intentions, but it's actually been quietly draining you for months. Letting go of things frees up energy for what is important to you right now, instead of giving it to things that were important 6 months ago. And remember, letting go of things doesn't mean it has to be permanent. You can set something aside temporarily and come back to it later. This is just about setting down things that are not serving you right now. Delegating is your next best tool, but it does require a massive shift in thinking for most of us. Because a lot of us will only delegate when we are absolutely at capacity, when there is no other option than to ask for help. And when that happens, we do it in a messy way, and we do it with a ton of guilt behind it. And then we're just even more draining our emotional tanks. And this is why we must delegate before we are maxed out. So look at your task list and identify things that could be done to at least 80% of the way you would do it, because that is good enough. Perfectionism is such a huge energy drain. So as long as that task gets done and it is not like mission critical that it be done by you, delegate that crap and get it off your plate. Deleting is the boldest, possibly most rebellious thing that you can do for yourself. Obviously, this is for tasks that are not essential, for things that completely do not align with your current wants or needs, or have been hanging around out of pure obligation to someone else, but are not work responsibility related. So if you've been meaning to organize your project binder, but the way it is not impacting how you get things done, gone, off the list. Stop kicking that can down the road. If you are fine with the way that it is, do not waste the energy to redo it. Because every unnecessary task in the back of your brain is taking space from something that might matter more. One way to make this process easier is to add an energy cost column to your planner. So just like we've stopped looking at all tasks as if they are equal and neutral, we're going to rate how much mental, physical, and emotional energy this bull crap that we keep recycling through and never getting done is taking from our mental load. And when you see a black and white list of all these high energy costs that are being attributed to all of this stuff that truly doesn't matter, you're absolutely going to see how easy it is to let go, to delegate, or to just delete it off the list. And again, the more you do this, the easier it becomes. You're going to spot those energy draining things before they even make it to your list. And you will learn to say no to commitments that do not serve you. You're going to stop overpromising from the beginning. And you are going to start making space for the things that light you up. Because the point of this system is not about squeezing more into your day. It's about deciding what's worth your energy in the first place. Every single time you let go, you delete, you delegate, you are protecting your energy for the work and the life you actually want, not the one you feel obligated to maintain. So take a look at the week ahead that you just built for yourself. Is there anything on there that you can let go of, that you can release, that you can trust to someone else? Because every answer to that is a win for your energy and your capacity and your focus. One of the quickest ways to wreck an otherwise great plan is to pack it so tightly there is not even room to breathe. On paper, a fully booked schedule is going to look efficient. It's going to look Instagram worthy, but in reality, you are just setting yourself up for stress, for burnout, for exhaustion, and the inevitable question of how did my entire day get derailed by a single phone call? This is why buffer zones are so important. They are built-in breathing spaces that give you room to adjust when life throws inevitable curveballs. And it's not just about time. It is also about energy. Because without just a little bit of extra space, the smallest hiccup can turn into a cascade of frustration. And that is going to leave you drained before your day is over. But the trick is to build these buffers in deliberately and intentionally. Give yourself space at the edges of your day. Start with 10, 15, 30 minutes if you can at the very beginning and the very end. That way you can ease into your mornings without feeling like you're sprinting the second you open your eyes. And you can wrap up your afternoons without leaving a trail of unfinished business behind you. Look at the spaces between things as well. If you have back-to-back meetings, do your best to find just a few minutes in between each of them. And not just for travel time or for switching locations or whatever, but so your brain can catch up. Because that little mental reset can be the difference between carrying tension from one thing to the next. And that way you can show up fresh for the new thing in front of you. And do not underestimate the power of tiny recovery moments. Even a 5-minute pause to refill your water bottle, to stand up and stretch, or even just to stare out of a window can reset your focus way more than you think. It really is like hitting a refresh button on your brain. The real challenge here is not adding buffers, it's respecting them. It is so tempting to look at white space in your planner and think, oh, I can squeeze something in right here. And sometimes, yes, you're going to have to use a buffer space for some urgent thing that comes up. That is unavoidable because that is life. But if every single one gets swallowed up, then you're just turning them into extra work time, and that completely defeats the purpose. Try to think of them as non-negotiable parts of your plan. They are just as important as the tasks themselves. Listen, if you are not used to having space in your day, I highly recommend you start small. Add just one 15-minute buffer wherever you can and see how it feels. You might be surprised at how less rushed you feel, at how much easier it is to adapt when something else runs over, at how much more in control you are overall. Over time, you are going to see those little pockets of breathing room as essential parts of your plan, because without them, you are always going to be in reactive mode, chasing after the day and desperately trying to recover from every single distraction. But with them, you can get ahead of the game, because you have space to move, space to think, space to breathe, so that you can keep going without running yourself into the ground. Listen, we've talked about this, and we're going to keep talking about it, because no matter how carefully you plan, life is going to throw you curveballs. Your most carefully crafted, perfectly energy-aligned plan is going to go up in flames when you get a surprise call from your boss, when you have to go pick up your kid from school, or when something, I was going to say simple, but it's freaking annoying, like what if your internet goes out? These things happen, and they happen all the time, and that is why you have to institute a plan B for those moments when plan A is absolutely going to go off the rails. And listen, plan A is your ideal, right? It's what you would do if everything went smoothly and everything stayed on schedule. But plan B, that is your, well, life just happened plan. The scaled back but still doable option that keeps you moving forward without demanding perfection. Because the goal is not to abandon your priorities. It's to adapt them to the person that you are today. The essential key to having a backup plan, to having a plan B plan, is to make it in advance. Because if you wait until the chaos hits, you're more likely to default to panic mode or just give up altogether. So instead, we're going to think ahead. If I can't do my full 30-minute workout, what's the quick version? If I lose the hour of focus time I had planned, what is the most important part of it that I can still finish? If dinner falls apart, what is my easiest backup option? By mapping out these just enough alternatives beforehand, you take the pressure off your future self to have to problem solve under stress. Sometimes plan B can mean shifting the order of your tasks so that they are matching up to your current energy levels. So if your morning got hijacked, maybe you can shift something in that can still get done and save the heavier lifting for later after you've had time to recover a little bit. Other times it is about cutting non-essential items completely so that you can protect your energy for what really matters that day. And yeah, sometimes plan B is going to feel like a downgrade. It's natural to want to stick to plan A because of course plan A feels more productive. It feels more complete. But a good plan B keeps the wheels turning, and it does it without pushing you into frustration and burnout. It is a safety net that lets you keep your momentum instead of forcing you to start over. You might even find that having a strong plan B makes you bolder with your plan A. When you know you have a fallback ready, you can take on the day with more confidence because you're not betting the farm on the fact that nothing's going to go wrong. You can go into it thinking, so what if it does? But what if it doesn't? And the truth is, the most successful plans are rarely the ones that are actually written down. They're the ones that bend without breaking. Plan A is your map. Plan B is a necessary detour. And together they keep you on track no matter what. Obviously, even the best, most perfectly energy curated plan is not going to be a set it and forget it kind of thing. Life changes, projects shift, your energy evolves, and your plans need to evolve with them. The whole point of an energy-aware planning system is that it is flexible enough that your plans can bend without breaking. And the simple way to ensure that is by building in regular review points. A quick daily check-in, a more intentional weekly reset, and a deeper monthly reflection. The daily review is just a few minutes at the end of the day where you look over your plan and you see what actually happened and what didn't. And for the things that didn't get done, you're just going to ask yourself a gentle why. This is not for judgment or guilt. It is just for information so you can plan better next time. Were the tasks that didn't get done completely unrealistic? Did your energy dip unexpectedly? Did you get derailed by outside demands? All of these things can and will happen, and it is important that when we look back, we do not blame ourselves for things not getting done. We just understand why, and we move on. The weekly review is where we zoom out a little. We look at the overall plan for the week, and we see what worked well, what maybe so much didn't work well, and we see where our energy labels lined up and where they didn't with our plan. You might realize that you continue to shove high energy focused tasks in the middle of the afternoon, even though you know that unless there's a Starbucks run in there, you are thinking through a fog by 3 p.m. every day. Or you might see that you are completely underestimating the recovery time you need after certain kinds of meetings or certain kinds of tasks. Again, all of this is just data to help us plan better for ourselves and our energy moving forward. This is a constantly evolving process, but it is one that is so important and so necessary to get you to a place where you are planning based on what you can actually get done and build momentum so that you are not constantly shaming yourself for being behind. So let's move on to the monthly review, because this is your chance to check in on the bigger patterns. Has your workload shifted? Are you recognizing certain commitments that are no longer worth the energy they take to complete? Is your current system still serving your goals? Sometimes we need to add small tweaks, like changing an energy label or adjusting our buffer zones. And other times it might be a much bigger reset. Rethinking priorities, completely cutting some commitments, or rebalancing where you spend your best hours. These adjustments are proof that you are paying attention. Too many people cling to their plans because they believe that if they change them, if they adjust them, it means they couldn't cut it. They couldn't hack it. They didn't have the willpower to stick with it. But with energy-aware planning, change is the plan. You're not trying to mold yourself into a rigid structure. You're reshaping the structure to fit you. Please, again, do not overcomplicate the review process. You don't need a 10-page journal brain dump for every single reflection that you do. A few bullet points or even just a quick voice memo can give you the insights that you're looking for. The important part is to notice, to learn, and to adjust. Over time, these reviews will also become second nature. You're going to catch yourself tweaking things in real time. You're going to find yourself swapping tasks for a better energy match. And you're going to start planning your weeks with fewer unrealistic expectations. That is how you keep your plan alive. It is not a document that you create and abandon. It is a living system that grows with you. So make reviewing and adjustment part of that plan, part of your process, because that's how we keep all of this functional, and that's how you make it yours. And just like that, we've reached the end. We have spent a couple hours together now at this point. And I hope that you have learned a lot about how to work with your energy instead of against it. I hope that you're starting to understand how to break free of the hustle and burnout cycle just by making some tweaks at how you look at your plan and how you organize your days, because you can still get all of your things done, and you're probably going to get more done if you implement this system and start recognizing the times of day or the times of week where you're most productive in the areas of things you need to get done. Because we can still chase big dreams and big goals. We can still work 8 to 10 hour days for somebody else. And by organizing the things we need to do in a way that aligns with our energy, we can come out the other side of those things with our brains intact. You do not have to sacrifice your energy for achievement. You can achieve things by honoring your energy. Also, if you're looking for a little extra support as we wrap things up, I do want to remind you that I have an energy aware planning bundle in my shop linked below, and it's got really great things like journal prompts, daily planners, energy task banks, different menus, and it is on sale through the end of August. No pressure, they're not required to use the system. It's just I wanted to make them for people who are unable to or don't want to create their own spreads in their planners. It is just an option that is available. It is a way that you can help support me if you want to, but no obligation to do so, obviously. Your journey is yours to take at your own pace. I also want to mention that if you subscribe just to follow along with this series, welcome to Rebel with a Plan. We are building a really beautiful, supportive community here, and I hope that you will stick around and become part of the Rebel family. We talk about mindset and neurodiversity and creativity and planning. This is a space where you can be yourself, where you can show up as you are and find love and support. And I would absolutely love it if you would stick around and become part of that conversation. Thank you so much for investing your time and your energy into this series with me. I see you, and I'm so proud of you. Please don't forget to smash all those YouTube buttons for me, and leave me a comment below. Let me know if you found this helpful. Let me know if there's any lingering questions that I haven't answered, or just drop an emoji, because every comment lets YouTube know that this video could help someone else, and it helps to encourage them to push me out to find new members to join our community. I love you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.